Welcome to Hour 2 of the Truth of Sherman Hughes. Now we're talking about drugs. Because I just found some real fascinating information. It says here, I got a bunch of articles. I don't know if I believe this stuff. Maybe I do. In every demographic group, the effects of drug use and drug abuse are felt. Addiction is a disease that is present in every racial group and at every socioeconomic level. However, it is important to note that drug abuse and the prevalence of substance use disorders differ across racial groups. This is not due to some innate or automatic reason, but instead is largely due to external factors. So going into this information I'm about to share with you, wouldn't you just think that black people just use more drugs and we're more addicted to everything? Wouldn't you think that? Wouldn't the media have you believe that? Wouldn't the incarceration rates, wouldn't the arrest rates just have you believe that the black people are doing all of the drugs and microdosing the cracks and the mushrooms and the marijuanas and doing all of the things and doing the acids and the LSDs and all of the drugs and the Molly? Is Molly the same as ecstasy? There's a difference, you say. Well, which one is better? Molly is better. And you read that somewhere, Benjamin. You heard it, perhaps in a rap song. Okay. But there's a difference between the two, a Molly and an ecstasy. Okay. Because back in my day, ecstasy was a raver drug. People would go to raves, which they don't do anymore. Not like we did them. You'd go to a place and you'd get a flyer. There's a place called Atomic Records on Locust. I don't even know if they're still there. You'd get a flyer. And then there's a phone number on the flyer, but the phone number wouldn't be active until like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. You call the phone number, it would give you directions, because there's no GPS back then, no internet back then, to where this rave was going to take place. And at the rave, which was usually in some large abandoned building, in a warehouse, sometimes they were in barns, it would be an all-night party and very secluded, and there would be drugs there. So I heard. All right. It is important to understand. No, they define race. No, we know what race is. What is this here? White Americans are people who have ancestry from Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. According to one study by the National Survey on Drug Use, about 38.2% of young white adults aged 18 to 25 reported that they were current illicit drug users. In terms of drug use by race, white Americans have the highest rates of drug use and abuse. This is likely due to a variety of factors, including socioeconomic status, access to drugs, and cultural factors. There are a number of cultural factors that contribute to drug use among white Americans. For example, drug use is often seen as a way to rebel against authority or as a way to cope with stress and anxiety. Additionally, drug use is often glamorized in the media, which can make it seem more appealing to young people. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of songs about different types of pills. Molly's and Percocets, as an example. Let's talk to Ken. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you, Ken? Ken, are you there? Hello, Ken. Guess Ken doesn't want to.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now, Ken. Hi, Ken.
Hey, sorry. Good morning.
Good morning.
So basically, there's a lot of misconceptions. A lot of words get thrown around like Molly and ecstasy and things like that. And over time, it just sort of becomes what it is, just like weed and loud and gas. And these are all just names, street names. But Molly is the raw form of MDMA, which is the chemical compound that makes ecstasy.
Okay.
So a lot of people say, he's off that Molly. He's off that Molly. Well, 9 times out of 10, he wasn't off Molly. 9 times out of 10, he was off methamphetamine, which you can't tell the difference with the naked eye. So most people, they think they're doing Molly or ecstasy, but they're really doing methamphetamine.
Wait a minute, methamphetamine, that's a whole different class of drugs, though, isn't it? Like meth, like crystal meth? Saying. You smoke that.
Yes,
Molly
crystal meth.
and ecstasy are pills, right?
No, well, see, you crush down the Molly, which is MDMA, and you make ecstasy with it. So it's one of those things where people are using these names and these labels, bro, and you don't just smoke crystal meth. A lot you can orally ingest meth, just like a lot of people. Oh, I was smoking Molly. I've never, man. People talk. They will tell you anything under the sun. But I just wanted to clear that up because
you cleared up nothing. You made me more confused, Ken. Now I don't know what's what.
Well, I'm trying to give you. It's just names. These are just names. MDMA is the chemical. That is ecstasy. That
I'm aware of. Okay, MDMA is ecstasy.
Right.
I thought that Molly was a similar drug compound to MDMA, like a designer form of ecstasy. But what do I know? I've never done ecstasy or Molly before.
Well, ecstasy is designer itself. I mean, there's no designer of the designer. It's just sort of like weed. You got really high, strong, potent weed, and then you got regular weed. But people will tell you, "Oh, this is gas. This is loud. This is that." These are street names that people throw around to use.
All right.
The reality is, it's ecstasy. Molly is raw ecstasy. It's not in pill form yet. You get what I'm saying? It's the raw version.
Ken, have you ever tried any of those drugs?
Yes, you damn right I have.
Which one is your favorite?
So, my favorite, I think my favorite, I guess when it comes to drugs, I'm not really into per se drugs. Once again, these are words we use. To me, marijuana is not a drug, but yes, it's a drug. But
anything that can be intoxicating, I think we can call a drug. And just the term drug doesn't necessarily have a bad connotation to it. But anything that can alter your perception, your reality, give you physical sensations, give you euphoria is a drug. Hell, caffeine is a drug. That's my favorite of them all. I love the caffeine. I loves it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But see here, this is the thing. Ecstasy, MDMA, there's long-term studies, just like with mushrooms and other drugs that have these bad stereotypes because you got a lot of retarded people doing things, and then they say, "Oh, he was off Molly. Oh, he jumped out the window because he was off this. He was off that." And a lot of times it's bullshit.
Hey, you can't say that word.
Oh, sorry.
Stop that.
Sorry. You know what I mean? It's a lot of times it's just glorifying it or turning it into something it's not. Most people who did ecstasy, like you said, back in the day when they were going to the factories and there were underground parties and raves, a lot of those people were people who needed medications, and they were introverted people, or they were people who went through a lot of things, and they found that ecstasy was the one thing that allowed them to feel normal or to feel happiness or to feel joy. So people say, "Oh, he's strung out on that ecstasy. He run around jumping out of windows on ecstasy." No, that's all a bunch of crap. People, just like people on weed, you don't see people on weed running around robbing a bunch of banks and doing a bunch of crimes. No, they're too high. They're somewhere wanting to eat food. They're not running around robbing. Like Reefer Madness, prime example. Reefer Madness, they came out with this campaign against drugs about marijuana, and they made everybody think you were the devil or you were possessed or you would smoke a joint and go rape women and weird shit like that.
Stop!
Weird stuff like that.
I gotta hang up on you because you're cussing too much. Are you high, Ken? Ken, are you high? I want let him answer the question, Ben. Ken?
Yes, sir.
Are you high right now? Are you off that Molly?
Oh man, no sir. It ain't Friday.
Why aren't you at work, Ken?
I'm at work.
Oh my God. What do you do for a living?
I can't tell you that.
Whatever they do, they don't drug test, do they? They don't drug test at your job.
Yes, they do.
Oh,
they do.
Ken is not your real name, is it?
The drugs that they're searching for. It sounds weird, But the drugs that they're searching for in your system are drugs that come out of your system within 24 to 48 hours, except for marijuana. That is the only drug. That's why you have a bunch of meth heads working everywhere, because the drug's out of their system. They get it out of their system when they go take their test.
Okay.
Marijuana is the only thing that carries over the cannabinoids into your fat cells, so it's harder to get rid of it, get it out of your system.
Okay.
But like I said, they give all these people these jobs because they're qualified and they pass the drug test, but the reality is these are the same people that's sitting at home doing the cokes and the meths and all these weird things.
Okay, I gotta go now. I'm afraid he's gonna cuss again. He said a lot of cuss words. What is happening? I don't think I've ever done a show on drugs before. Let's do it. According to research by the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, the following statistics represent Hispanic drug use in the U.S. 1% of Hispanic Americans have a diagnosable substance abuse disorder. Oh, that's low for the Hispanics. Shout out to the Hispanics for not doing all the ecstasies and the mollies and the heroines and all of the pills and things. 3% of Hispanic Americans use illicit drugs. Hispanic Americans report lower rates of lifetime illicit drug use at 37.7% than whites at 54.5%. And African Americans at 45.9%. It appears that the whites like the drugs. It appears that they are the ones that like the drugs. On average, 5.3% of Hispanic Americans are dependent on alcohol, while 24.6% of Hispanic Americans engage in binge drinking. They drink Modelo's and a lot of tequila. Okay, I'm going to take a break. Anybody want to share any drug stories? I don't have any. I don't know. I drink caffeine. I drink coffee. I don't do that stuff. Did they drug test us here at Good Karma Brand? Okay. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.